My name is Sandeep Kanaval. I'm a Chief Architect at BPM911. We are a premium Pega solution provider, and we are here to talk about the overview of Pega. So what is Pega? If you have done your Google search, you probably have figured out that is it a BPM solution? Is it a CRM solution? What about RPA, decisioning, AI? There's so many things that people are talking about. When you do a Google search, you're going to find all these reasons why people are using Pega. But what really is Pega? What value does it bring to your organization? So let's talk about that. Before we get into the benefits of Pega and what Pega really does, let's talk where Pega actually sits from the thinkers of the universe called Gartner and Forrester. Let's see what they believe what Pega can do. So here's what the Gartner Magic Quadrant looks like. And this is specific to, I want to point out your attention specific to the CRM. So this Gartner research is specific to CRM. And they believe that SalesForce is the leader in this space. However, if you see, Pega's system is quickly catching on, right? And this research is as of May of 2019. So the latest research I don't have access to, but this space where Pega sits right now, it has already creeped up, and it's pretty closing the gap between Salesforce and Pega. This is another one that Gartner has, but this specific to BPM. As you know, Gartner does many different industry verticals related and product specific or function related research. Based on their research, they found that Pega is the market leader when it comes to BPM. So if you're considering business process management, or if you're considering consolidating your business operations and making it more useful and friendly for your user base, BPM is the right solution for you. Here's another one that actually is from Forrester. So I thought of bringing another set of information from a competitive research fundamentalist, and figured out that this they found Pega systems as the leader of their operation. So this is very interesting to see. So let's look at a quick history of Pega. So more than likely when you do Google search in Pega and trying to figure out is this the right space for you, it always helps to have some history behind it. Alan Trefler, he's the founder of Pega at the age of 27. He founded Pega in 1983. Before founding Pega, he was a world open chess champion. So he was obviously a brilliant mind. He proved that. He wrote a book, Built for Change. And in his book, he talks quite a bit about, how do you build a software and application for change. And the initial years of Pega, it was primarily used as a middleware from 1983 until 1996. Pega, claim to fame, if you will, was primarily circled around their ability to act as a middleware with IBM technologies and other technologies. In year 1996, Pega started making headways into BPM space, almost like a new life for Pega. And then in 2001, Pega was officially released as a BPM tool. So not until from 1983 until 2000, Pega was primarily a middleware tool, which it does a pretty good job even today, I might add. And since the multiple versions of software has been released, a game-changing release was made in version 7. And then in 8.1, the 8.1 version really reincarnated Pega as in Pega Infinity. Pega motto is to build for change, and the goal is to eliminate software coding and automate manual work. Pega likes to call themselves as a 34-year-old startup. That I find it very cheeky. I think it's very interesting to see an organization that is almost as old as Microsoft or Apple. Microsoft was founded in 1975. But to see, Pega still carrying the same DNA of being a startup kind of makes it very exciting to work on Pega. So what really is Pega, right? We are more confused than ever about many technologies those are out in the space. So what is really Pega? In a very simple term, if I have to sum what Pega is a software that helps you build software via configuration. So what other technologies are out there that can help you build software? And we have been in this space, most of these providers has been space for a long time. Here's a quick list of many of them. Microsoft is there with the big giant of desktop and mobile responsive. They have this old .NET framework. They keep reinventing around that. They have .NET Core, SQL Server, Azure SQL. These are some of the tool sets that they have. Microsoft, in order to for native iOS and Android development, they have their own development framework called Xamarin, as some of you may know. Then there's the Oracle Java framework, which is primarily desktop mobile responsive application through Java, struts, EJB, so on and so forth. Then the traditional space of open source technologies like desktop mobile responsive, like LAMP, Ruby on Rails, MySQL, Postgres, all of these systems are there. Then the another open source for native mobile. If you're building a native mobile application, then Ionic, Cordova, PhoneGap, some of the technologies, those are actually in the industry today. If you are a traditional iOS developer, then you're very familiar with Swift. You write code in Swift, you develop your apps and deploy in the App Store. If you're an Android developer, then Kotlin, Java, there are a few other technologies out there. This is not all inclusive, so don't quote me anywhere at this. This is the final list of technologies, but I just wanted to bring you to limelight. What does the landscape looks like today from an application development standpoint? So let's take Microsoft example, because it'll be very hard to create a video to go after each one technologies and discuss how development is done. But I wanted to handpick Microsoft and discuss how a traditional application development is done in Microsoft. Typically, on a very large scale, you can define 4 major phases of development, right? Analysis, actual development, testing, and then support, right? But when it comes to analysis, here are the tools that you use, and there are many more outside of this. But primarily, if you're in Microsoft space, you're very familiar with Microsoft Word, Excel, Visio, PowerPoint, MS Project to manage the project overall. When you go into the development phase, you have this Visual Studio, TFS, which is or Git or DevOps. If you're on the cloud, it's DevOps. You store your code. Then there's some additional third-party add-ons, some continuous integration tools, sometimes Jira for managing your tickets, your workflows, and so on and so forth. Then comes in the testing phase. Microsoft itself has a test manager. You use test manager to do automated testing. There's a manual testing involved in any application. Some people use Excel to manage their list of tasks that needs to be done. And then JMeter, which is an open source, but it's for performance testing. Microsoft itself has a load testing tool. I haven't found it very user-friendly, and very many companies using it. It's primarily around technologies like JMeter or Mercury. Then comes the support. For support, you have DevOps, where you can manage your tickets, help desk stuff. So is Jira. Some companies use Bugzilla if they're too much into open source. But in a very nutshell, if you see from a start to finish, there are multiple technologies and multiple tool sets. Each tool set requires a translation from one group to the other. Okay. So what is the problem with traditional development methods? Well, the major problem is they rely on multiple tool sets for different roles in the project, right? If you're a business analyst, you're using Word, Excel, PowerPoint. If you are a developer, you have Visual Studio, and if you're a tester, you have this another tool, and if you're a support guy, you have this yet another tool. It's kind of divided into multiple tool sets. Critical information of the business gets lost while translating from one tool from one person to the other, right? It takes too long to develop an MLP, minimum lovable product. Typically gets rolled out with critical bugs in the system, and I've been doing it for 20 years, and I have not seen an application going out without any bugs, and usually it has bugs. and it's very difficult to get the user adoption because every application is custom written, custom created. So if let's say you create a expense report system and now you created a time tracking system, they all look different, and they're not there's no continuity between between the look and feel, the acceptance and whatnot. And most importantly, the Microsoft development tools that they do not work within the boundaries of agile development. Yeah, they talk about agile, but it doesn't work, and there's a lot of horror stories around that. I cannot explain where these actually falls apart. So how does Pega solve this problem, right? The most important thing, the way Pega solves this problem is by having all these tools, all these processes in one tool, which is called Pega PRPC platform. In the Pega platform, for multiple roles, it has different studio, so to speak, and each of these studios are used by those individual roles. They capture requirements. The DCO process captures requirements. It also within the tools. Those same requirements get passed on to the developer. Developer writes the code. The same code gets passed on to the tester. Tester tests the code, and the same code gets deployed to the production. So it is very cohesively designed in a way that multiple roles can play within the same platform. Okay. So there are three major pillars for Pega. This is just my take on where Pega really sits. There are a lot more additional components to this: RPA, robotics, process automation, decisioning, data science. There are a lot of things built into the platform, but at a very high level, I define this into three major buckets. Number one is the middleware. It has a amazing rules management system, so you can use it as a middleware, and you will get a full ROI on your on your investment made into Pega. However, this should not be your only reason to move forward with Pega. The most important one that I find is the BPM, the low code, the no code approach of software development. This is where Pega really shines, and the major difference between Pega as a BPM or low code solution versus any other player in the marketplace is Pega's solution is truly geared towards enterprise-like application. If you're looking to deploy an application for 10, 15, 20 users, or let's say 100 users, don't think about Pega, because it is not going to give you the ROI. However, if you're looking for one application that has millions of transactions and thousands of users, and an application that can scale up and scale out, all of that stuff, Pega is your solution. Then CRM, as we talked in the Gartner, as we saw in the Gartner quadrant, Pega is quickly gaining momentum on the CRM space. So if you have a CRM initiative and you're already considering SalesForce, I would hold off on that and at least give Pega a shot. At least give a look at that. If nothing else, do a proof of concept or do something around it, because your investment in SalesForce, once you make there, chances are, and I'm very positive on this, that you will have all of your CRM problems solved, but your business process problem will never be solved. In this case, if you consider Pega, you at least have a chance of solving all of your business process issues coupled with the CRM, because it's one product that's helping you get there both ways. Right? So what is the back end of Pega? A lot of people question, okay, now I like Pega, but hey, I don't like it. It's built on Microsoft or Oracle or this and that. Good news here is, unlike other softwares, Pega is agnostic about which database backend they should use. Right? It supports Oracle, SQL Server, Azure SQL, MySQL, Postgres, to name a few. There are, so it is not like, kind of like, when you're tied to a Microsoft platform, you have to use SQL Server, or you're tied to, let's say Siebel, you have to use Oracle. That's not the case here with Pega. You are actually free to choose the backend that works within your organization. Another thing is that Pega as a platform itself is built on Java, and almost all production environments that Pega that I've seen with the customer is based on Linux. And it is, and most of the production environment I've seen at least have 5 to 7 nodes in them. So that's a very, very common installation scenario for Pega. However, I have heard that Pega, one of the environment, there are like 16 servers involved in a production environment. So that just shows you the scalability aspect of this application that brings to you that most of the other, competitive platform do not even come close to what it does, right? Pega is offered both on-prem and SaaS. So if you as an organization have made a strategic decision to move to the cloud and you would rather not have any footprint on-prem, you have both options available. Okay. So what are the typical use cases for Pega? Well, that's a good question, because you're not going to build every problem that you have in terms of IT solutions in your company on Pega. So obviously anything which is of a mass consumption, your company website cannot be on Pega, right? Applications like, consumer facing applications like Facebook, Amazon, where millions of users are there. You can build in Pega. It's not a good use case, to be honest. What is a really good use case is your back office application that has a lot of processes built around it. An example here is the banking system that manages customer deposits, withdrawals, loan application, origination, servicing, securitization of your loans, creating a portfolio and selling them to the investment bankers. That's a good use case. Another one is pharmaceutical companies managing their drug release process, advertisement management, so on and so forth. Any local state license management system or permit management system. These are all good examples, and many more, right? Think of, in organizational needs, from as basic as employee onboarding, expense tracking, timesheet management. These are all the low-hanging fruit that you can get out of Pega. But think also from an enterprise perspective. Let's say you have a claims management system. You're an insurance company. You want to build a claims management system of multiple different kinds of insurance plans, right? And this is a good example of where Pega really shines better than any other competitor in the marketplace. Okay. So who is using Pega? Almost all the Fortune 500 companies have some footprint of Pega. I've heard Apple, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Blue Cross, Blue Shield. Many franchises of BCBSs are actually on Pega. They have built their claims management solution around it. Ford has implementation of Pega, GM, Ferrari, several government agencies, US Air Force, state and local government, and many more. This is not an all-encompassing list. This should at least get you excited about that you're not the only one considering Pega for your business solutions. Healthcare and banking verticals are the early adopters. They have took on Pega since 2009, and there are many more banks and healthcare organizations that actually have adopted Pega. They are early adopters. Does not mean this solution only works in this industry. It only means that they actually found it a lot more conducive to their needs than any other software in the market. To me, it feels like rest of the industry is just ready for Pega at this point. You're a mid-sized organization, you're a credit union looking to consolidate your IT investments and build the next generation software solutions on it. This is your solution. Think of if you have a ailing mainframe solution that has been out there in the public for long, and you would rather you're looking to convert that, and if you're just thinking of .NET or Java-based conversion, then you are missing out a lot. I would say if you have a mainframe application, an ailing mainframe application, and would want to convert that, you want to give a good look at Pega, because Pega speed to market is just phenomenal. It's just enormous. It's just hard to ignore the ROI that you're going to get out of implementing through Pega. Right? So if you're looking to build a custom solution with an enterprise application, any other app modernization that you have on your roadmap, you want to convert that. Looking to improve efficiencies and increase customer satisfaction. There are many modules within Pega, and it comes with some pre-canned frameworks as well that helps you quickly deploy industry-specific or job-specific or function-specific solutions on Pega. And not to mention those access databases, right? Those, let's face it, every organization has it, and those are a big headache for IT because it's just a DB file, anybody can delete it. You don't want to lose your organizational data and processes that are built on access. You now have a solution that can actually be enterprise, can scale up to enterprise level, but also has a compliance and security built around it. Okay. So that's it, folks. I hope you enjoy what I had to say about the overview of Pega. There are a lot more to it than what meets the eye. I plan to provide a lot more insight into Pega in the future videos as well. Please subscribe, and hope we get to work with each other again. Thank you.